Starting. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday after Thanksgiving. Super excited to be here. This is a special bonus live hangout that I'm doing. It wasn't even we didn't have it scheduled or anything. Boom, just showing up here. And I was asked by my publisher, Penguin Random House, to be on their podcast and talk about the book and what it's all about. And so this is going to be an interview, and one of our fellow Believe Nation members, Marisha, RishyCupTV, is going to be acting as the host, asking questions. How you doing, Rishi?
Whoop, whoop. I'm doing good. I'm super excited to be here, and this is a privilege, Evan, for me to be able to hear your story a little bit more in depth about your audiobook. So I'm super excited.
I love it. Let me turn on the light, extra light here. Okay. Boom. Look at that. Yeah. So this is going to be part of Penguin's podcast. And Rishi's going to lead us. She has instructions on how to guide this podcast and interview forward. So I'm just going to leave things in her capable hands. And Rishi, whenever you're ready, Rishi, because I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
All right. I am ready too, Evan. Here we go. So hello, everyone. Once again, I am Marisha Rodriguez, also known as Rishi. I'm the host of RishyCupTV, and I'm here today on a special edition of This is the Author, a podcast about authors reading their audiobooks from Penguin Random House Audio. I'll be chatting with Evan Carmichael today about that experience. So are you ready, Evan?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for having me. And the first thing that I just would love for you to do is to introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Sure. My name is Evan Carmichael. I believe in entrepreneurs. I had my first business, my first kind of legit business, I guess, when I was 19 years old in university, and built that up. There was crappy days at the start, sucking and failing and making $300 a month, and turned that around, got acquired. A couple years later, went into the venture capital game, helping raise $500,000 to $15 million for companies that wanted to grow, and then started this journey that I'm on now of helping entrepreneurs through my website, through my YouTube channel, through writing the book. I hate mediocrity. I'm driven by untapped potential. I believe that everybody listening to this show, I believe that most people in the world have a ton more potential than they're living up to. And it's my personal mission to go out and help people, but especially entrepreneurs, realize their potential and do something amazing with their lives and businesses.
Awesome. Okay, so you've already mentioned the book. Go ahead and tell us, if you can, more about the book. What's the story behind it and what inspired you to write it?
Love it. So the book is called Your One Word. It's sitting right here next to me. I keep it next to me for constant inspiration. And what it's about is helping people find the one thing that they're all about. I mentioned that I believe there's a lot of untapped potential in society. And I think the way to find your potential, the path to figuring out where you're going to go, where you can grow, the kind of impact that you can have, starts with self-awareness. Starts with understanding who you are, what you're about, what you believe in, what your values are, the kinds of people that you want to be around, the kind of work that you should be doing. And I think a lot of people, one, don't have the courage to follow their path, and two, don't even know what their path is. They're so confused with everything that's happening around them. They have the wrong people in their life. They have the wrong environment in their life. And so they just kind of wander through life instead of doing something amazing and great with it. And so the book is about finding the one thing that is most important to you, your core value, the thing that absolutely is the single most valuable thing for you, what you are all about. If you had to define yourself in one word, and then from understanding that, building a meaningful life and building a meaningful business and having a big impact afterwards. The inspiration came from me being in business and feeling like I could do more, right? Like I'm upset by untapped potential. I felt like I had more potential. I've already had some success, but I could do more. I hate the feeling that I could be doing more. It just bothers me to no end. And when I see it in other people too, it frustrates me that you could be way up here and you're playing so small. And so I didn't know how to get there. I felt like I had this untapped potential. I didn't know how to get there. And I thought it was just a marketing thing. I thought it was just like changing my slogan around, but that wasn't it. What I ended up finding out was centered around this idea of believe, which is my one word. I'm all about believe. And then starting to research other companies and other entrepreneurs who had found what their one word was, and building businesses anywhere from a $50,000 kind of full-time income for somebody up to people making hundreds of millions of dollars all around their one word. And it was a struggle for me to kind of figure that out on my own. And I thought there needs to be a blueprint. There needs to be a blueprint for how to find your most important core value, how to find your one word, and then how to build something really meaningful around it. And so by me kind of figuring out on my own, as well as going on interviewing top performers who've gone out and done it themselves, I created the blueprint, your one word, and I'm super excited about the impact that it's going to have.
Awesome. So in regards to narrating your audiobook, was it harder or easier than you expected? And did anything surprise you about the experience?
First off, I was blown away by the quality. So they booked me, I'm based here in Toronto, Canada, and they booked me into an amazing location. It's Justin Bieber's Canadian studio. And as soon as you walk in, you see Justin Bieber's, you know, I don't know if it's platinum or however those album sales work, but you see the records of Bieber and Rihanna and all these people who've gone through, and like, this is awesome, right? Like, history is made in this place. I'm going to add to that with the recording of my book. So right away, it was an awesome experience. A funny story, when I walked in, they had it all set up and they had this chair for me and the microphone's all set. And I sat down in the chair and I started looking over the script, and something just didn't feel right because I like to stand. I have a stand-up desk. I'm doing this right now from my stand-up desk. I get energy and spazziness and inspiration when I'm standing. And so I asked the guy, like, can I stand? Is that legit? Is that okay? And he's like, well, you can, but we're going to be recording all day. It's from 10 o'clock to 5 or 6 o'clock at night. I said, oh, that's no problem. I stand all day long. Let's do it. And so he adjusted it for me. And then from there was super awesome. They have just such a high level attention to detail. I had a producer in Toronto next to me. And then I had a producer in LA who was coaching me on the Skype call and saying, hey, that word was hard to hear, or you might want to say this with, you know, different energy or whatever it was, just kind of coaching me through the process. And at the start, it was hard to get into some of the pages because I didn't read it exactly like I wrote it. I might say your, but I wrote you are, or like minor tiny changes. And I would always get stopped to say, hey, you wrote you are, you have to say you are. And then it would always kind of kill the flow at the beginning. And so I said, or they suggested that we speak with the publisher and say, hey, because it's the author, doesn't matter if he says it exactly word for word. And they said, you know what, when we bring in, so most authors don't actually read their own books, which was shocking to me. They hire voice coaches or actors to come in and do it. And so if it's an actor coming in, it has to be word for word specific. But for mine, they said, you know what, because he's an author, let him have a little bit of freedom to do what he wants. And that just opened up. That was like, yeah, it's amazing. And so it's just like fire coming out. So I'm so excited about the audiobook version of it. It was a ton of fun to make. Lots of professionalism went into it. Just next level. Like I hear it back in my headset, like that sounds so clean. Because of the energy and excitement, I was in this little box in this room that people use to record solos and for authors to read their book. And it started getting really hot. They don't have a lot of ventilation in there because the fan would affect the quality of the audio. Like you'd hear a little whir on it. So I was like, okay, well, here we go. We're here for 8 hours. So I started like stripping off layers down to like undershirt, no socks, no shoes. My pants, luckily, were tearaways, so like I could unzip the bottom half. So I'm sitting there like in my beachwear recording it so I could bring more energy to it. So it would have been fun to have a little like webcam or GoPro or something tracking me as I did it, but it was an amazing experience. And if I do another audiobook, I want to go back and use those guys again.
Awesome. So you mentioned already the difference between saying your and you are and all of those types of things in the process. Was there any particular word or phrase that you realized you didn't know how to pronounce?
A lot of the, so here's what happened. This was interesting. When most of the book is my own words. And so when it's my writing, it was super easy. I'm just like, we're riffing through the pages. We had 3 full days booked for the whole audio thing, and I was done in 2. This third part of the book is interviews that I did with other people. So people who've built a business around their one word as well, to give people some inspiration, different examples. So like, here's someone who built a $5 million business around their one word, and a $1 million business around their one word, or 500,000. So no matter what size you're at, there's always somebody to look up to and get some advice from. Those were a little bit harder because it wasn't my words, and like, oh, I would have said it differently, but it's what they said. So it took a little more finesse, or I wouldn't even notice that I would read the sentence and just add my own thing in there. And then the guy in LA is like, Evan, he didn't actually write that. So, oh, okay, we'll do it again. And then also some names. There's a lot of quotes. I love quotes. So I start each page off with a quote from a famous entrepreneur or writer or musician or actor that I really resonated with. And I didn't always know how to pronounce their last name. And so my producer in LA, that was part of his job, was researching exactly how to say different people's names. And that was really great, because when you write it, this doesn't make a huge difference, just copy and paste. It's more the quote. But I wanted to give credit to who the people were and obviously say their names correctly. So he saved me a ton of time and taught me some new words, I guess, how to pronounce people's last names.
Awesome. So now can you tell us a little bit about what you were proudest of in your narration? And is there anything specific you're really excited for the listeners to hear?
I think the proudest part is the vibe and energy of the whole thing. I took it seriously. It was something that I was going to fight over, right? As soon as we said we're going to do an audiobook, as soon as my publisher wrote to me and said, hey, we're going to do an audiobook, right away in my head, like, I'm doing it. I'm doing the audio, because I've listened to audiobooks of people, of authors that I wanted to hear them speak, and it wasn't them, and I was so kind of let down. And the vibe of the person that came on didn't match the image, I guess, of that entrepreneur that I had in mind. And so I didn't finish those audiobooks, and I felt a letdown. And so I said, I'm going to hold, if I don't do this audiobook, it's not going to get out. I'm going to, this has to be me. I'm going to fight so hard for this to be me. Now, luckily, Penguin Random House is amazing, and they wanted me to do it. I think they usually would want the author to do it, unless, the author is too busy or whatever. But I took it seriously. I practiced. I went through the whole thing multiple times on my own at home. I ran it by a couple of friends of mine who I respect and trust, and different samplings, and got their feedback on it, and that helped me. I wanted to make sure that we produced the best thing possible. I told both my producers, listen, if you think I could do it better, let me know. I'll take as many takes. It's got to be amazing. So don't let me mail it in. If you think I'm losing energy or whatever, if I start dropping the fire, then bring it back to me and tell me I did something wrong, because this is important to me. So I think just that adherence to quality, and I don't think I really need to tell them that, because these guys are high-end professionals anyway. But I'm really proud of the overall quality, and the content is amazing, and I feel like the delivery is amazing as well. And so I'm excited for everybody who bought the audiobook to hear it. And yeah, so I'm pumped. What was the second part? Is what am I most proud of? And
just what are you most excited for the listeners to hear?
If I had to pick a section, I think the core section is what I'm most excited about at the start, because it applies to everybody. The book is divided into 3 sections: core, campaign, company. Core is about identifying what your one word is, what you're all about, what your value system is. And as soon as you figure out what it is, you start to realize that changes have to happen in your life, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. when I did my test sampling of the book, I sent it to 30 people, and over half of them were not entrepreneurs, and they loved it. And they started reading it, some kind of crying, some then figuring out, okay, I need to start making some changes, like what I really value and then what I'm doing in real life, they're not matching up. There's a disconnection there. And so I'm super excited for people to go through that process to gain better self-awareness and then be able to apply it to their life and to their business. Sections 2 and 3, 2 is really geared towards anybody who wants to be a leader. So how to create a campaign, how to spread your message, whether that's in business or you're trying to lead something else, you're a force for good for this value that you have. And section 3 is more around building a company. So if you're an entrepreneur or if you're in a business, so it hits fewer people, but section 1, I think, is applicable to if you're a human being and you can listen and understand English, it's applicable to you. And so I'm super pumped to have that come out.
Awesome. Yeah, and tell us a little bit about that. You mentioned at the start that this is an audiobook that is more for anyone. It's not just for the entrepreneur. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that? Yeah,
so I believe in entrepreneurs. That's the lens through which I see the world in my YouTube channel and the articles on my website. And the world that I live in is about helping entrepreneurs. I think entrepreneurs will solve all of the world's major problems. I wanted to purposely give this to people who were not entrepreneurs just to get their feedback. People who, some of them were wives or husbands of entrepreneurs, some of them were had no entrepreneur connection, but I think everybody has some kind of idea inside them that they could do more, that they could have a greater impact. And so I was pleasantly surprised to see how much of an impact that it made on the non-entrepreneurs, not just to better understand the entrepreneurs in their lives, but for themselves as a period of real self-reflection, and then being able to make a dramatic move forward in a positive direction for their life. So a lot of my content is typically geared towards entrepreneurs, but it's been amazing to see how much non-entrepreneurs have embraced it and used it to have a real meaningful change on their lives.
Very cool. So you already talked about how if you weren't going to be the one to narrate this audiobook, you were not going to allow anybody else to do it. But if you had to choose to cast somebody else to narrate this audiobook for you, can you tell us who that would be? And you can't say James Earl Jones or Meryl Streep.
Is that actually the question? You can't say James Earl Jones or Meryl Streep?
Yeah.
Wow. I could see James Earl Jones. I don't know why people pick Meryl Streep. That's interesting. Now I want to go and listen to Meryl Streep's voice. She's a fantastic actress, but that's interesting that she'd be like the #1 woman. I wouldn't put James Earl Jones. No, I need somebody with more energy. I need the energy, guys. Who would I pick? I would pick John F. Kennedy to read my audiobook. That's who I would pick. JFK. JFK mixed with a little Martin Luther King. That's what I want to merge the two of them together, bring them forward to this year, and have them combined read my my audiobook. Yeah.
Incredible. Awesome. So can you share a little bit with us about memories you had as a child being read to, or even as an adult? Or can you share any experiences of reading aloud to someone that you know?
I remember when I was growing up, I loved reading Michael Crichton. He was the only fiction author that I could really stick to. And Michael Crichton's written Jurassic Park and what else has he written? I've read all of them. Jurassic Park was the main one. I think that might have been like the first one that I read from him. I remember just picking up those books and just destroying it. And it's his writing style. It's really hard to put down. It's just you want to see what happens next. You're always on the edge. Like, I got to read this. I got to see what's next. My parents had a tradition of reading us a kind of bedtime story as well, if I'm going earlier back. and it's something that I've tried to continue with my son and reading the book. Trying to pick something that he's interested in. So right now we're into Star Wars and Yoda and the Jedi and all of those characters. And I try to do it so that he reads some of it too. So, you know, I'll read a line and then he'll read like the last couple words of the line. So it's a joint thing. And then as he starts to like pass out, you know, then I'll finish reading it and close it up and move on. But it's a great way to bond, and I think it's also a great way to be able to pass teachable lessons. I think as a parent, there's a lot of teachable lessons that you can give your kids through the stories, that they want to be like Luke Skywalker and that they're going to have, you know, evil in their life and they're going to have to overcome and fight and train. And I think there's a lot of lessons that kids can learn from the stories, as well as have a great experience being with their parents, kind of reading to them.
Awesome. So you mentioned earlier that you've listened to other audiobooks. If you had, you know, one that was your favorite of all time to listen to, or maybe just the last great audiobook that you listened to that made an impact on you, what would that be?
I don't know that I have one. Last great audiobook that I listened to. Yeah, I don't know that I have one. I you know, honestly, so I read. I have a daily ritual of reading before I go to bed. I just finished reading Onward by Howard Schultz. Most of the ones that the books that I've been genuinely interested in, I've looked at the audio version and it wasn't them speaking, and so I immediately lost interest. And to the point where I don't even look anymore to see if I just assume they're not reading it. Maybe, and that's my bad probably. Like if Howard Schultz read Onward, I would have loved, I'm gonna look that up after. I would have loved to pick that up. I think there's an extra dimension when an author is reading their own book and where they put the emphasis and hearing the emotion in the storytelling. So yeah, I'm not a massive audiobook consumer, which may be not a great answer for this podcast, but I think authors need to step up and do a better job of reading their own versions of their books, because your words, I think a lot of authors just see the book as the final product and it gets out and their message out. But if you want your message to really reach people, especially if you're in a nonfiction category, if you want your message to have an impact, then you should be the one delivering it. It's like if you're making you make a PowerPoint presentation and then you send your assistant up to go and deliver it for you, or not even your assistant, some like hired actor to go and do it for you. I think the message isn't going to get out there as much. Yeah, that's my answer.
Alrighty, well, that actually concludes our questions. Would you like to share any last thoughts about your one word, believe, and how you experienced that in the context of this audiobook experience?
Sure. I think believe for me is about figuring out that untapped potential in myself and in others. And when I first came to it, I thought it was too big a word. I thought it was too bold a word. I thought it had been used before by other people. I thought I had to be more specific. And the more I looked at it, the more I sat on it, the more it feels right. I just got to put my own spin on it. And I think that's really important for people listening. The word itself doesn't have to be unique. Chances are if it's powerful, somebody else has it as well. And that's a good thing. What can be unique is the thing that you bring to it. So the difference between just believe and hashtag believe for me is the spin that I bring. And so believe for me is about having the passion. So it's believing in the work you're doing. So passion for the work. It's believing in yourself, which is self-confidence. I think most people, if you say believe, would kind of fall into that, have that self-confidence. And then believe that it will work out and have the conviction to follow through. So, the passion combined with the conviction, combined with the self-confidence, that's what believe means for me. And when I first stumbled on it, I didn't go all in on it. I hate going all in on projects until I've tested them a little bit. And so the first thing I did was I made a newsletter around it, and it was the best newsletter I ever wrote in terms of impact that I got. I made a YouTube video, and that became the best YouTube video I ever made. And so, well, people are resonating with this, and more importantly, I'm resonating with it. Like, I feel like I'm creating more purposeful content that I really care about, that is, you know, touching people's lives, and they're seeing the benefit of it. And so I'm going to do this crazy thing and brand my business around Believe. And some people, some people don't like it. Some people are turned off by it, and some people love it, and that's great, because you want people to self-select in or out. So if I'm hiring, you know, if you think about your one word, now this is the lens through which you see everything, through which you see your partner and your relationship, through which you see the people in your lives, the people that you hire, your marketing campaigns, your website copy, it's everything. And so, as a small example, when I'm hiring somebody for a programmer position or graphic design position, I'll say, I want a graphic designer who believes in entrepreneurs. That'll be like the title. And then I'll talk about what believe means to me. And then I'll get into the position of what you have to do as a graphic designer. And some people see that and say, this is the stupidest thing I've ever read. And that's amazing, because we would not work out well together, right? If I'm pouring out my heart and what I love and what is true to me, and you think it's silly, amazing. Don't even apply for my job, because I don't want you here either. And they wouldn't be happy. Like, go do something else. It'd be great. And there are other people who read that and say, man, this is amazing. This is where I want to be. This is the kind of company that I want to work for. This person shares the same values as I do. And so it's an easy way for people to find you, to self-select in, to spread the message for you, so that you're not just doing everything on your own. And I think a lot of people struggle to find their voice, to find their message, their meaning, their path. And so I think I've been fortunate to find it through Believe, and then been fortunate enough to find other people who've done it through their one words, and now wrote the blueprint. Because all of us, everybody who's featured in here, up to the guy making $150 million, he found his one word and then just like stumbled along, just trying to find his path. And now there's a blueprint. Now it's easy to copy what these people are doing, find your one word, and apply it to your life and your business. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited for it coming out. I mean, the hard copy version, but the audio book.
Yes.
With me screaming. I'm excited.
Awesome. This was so great, Evan. Thank you so much for just sharing a little bit more about your experience with the audiobook. And thanks for everyone tuning into this special edition of This is the Author. Love audiobooks? Subscribe to This is the Author to hear more. We'll include a link to the podcast in the description. Thanks so much, Evan.
All right, thanks for having me. All right, good job, Rishi.
So just so you know, I wanted to have a bunch of interaction, but I know that in their heads they want your voice, at least for the audio version, it's all you. So I tried to stay out of anything that, like, even when you laughed, I didn't laugh because I know they're gonna want to just have your voice. So if that was, just so you understand, like, that's why I was completely silent anytime you were speaking. So how did it feel for you? Are you okay with that, or?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I didn't read their instructions, but I liked it. It was great.
I thought it was great. And I mean, I had a lot of great follow-up questions in pertains to your book, but I know that I'm assuming they want the audiobook experience. So I was trying to give them what they wanted too. So
I'm feeling that extra love. We've got some people in the live chat if you want to answer a couple questions there.
Oh, good. We're still live.
We're still going. We're still going. We're still live.
Good.
We're doing it live.
Well, I love that. I thought we were off. That's all good. So here we go.
What do we have? If you guys have questions, let us know. Dan B is saying, so first I'll shout out, who we got? We got Dan B, Peaceful Therapy, Zeno, Mitchell, Mihaville.
Wow, everybody's
Melissa. Who else? Light Cycle Third Eye. All right, well, welcome everybody. What do we got? Dan B, I hadn't realized he was standing all this time. Yeah, have you tried standing up, Rishi?
I can't work and stand like you do. Like, no? I have to sit.
It takes a while to get used to. I've been standing for, wow, I don't know. It might be coming up on 10 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's been a while. It's been a long time. I should like keep track of all the experiments and all the stuff that I do, but that's one that stuck. And what I did to start with, I was working off a laptop and I just had a bookcase and I adjusted one of the shelves to be at my height, because you want your arms just like under, just no, over 90 degrees, just a little bit. So this is 90, you want it just over 90.
Okay.
Just for comfort. And so I just tested it on a bookcase and like, you know what, this is manageable. I got tired. Like, you're not, you know, if you're used to sitting all day, you can't just stand up all day. It takes, like, you do an hour and like, oh, it's tiring just standing. And then you can do more, hour and a half and 2 hours and 3 hours and extend it. I used to have really bad back problems. And when I was sitting down, I was like this, right? It's always like hunched over. And I'm in front of the computer a lot. And I especially was before, when I wasn't doing media and stuff, it was just all computer work. And so I had back problems. I had to go see a chiropractor every week. Oh, wow. I'm in my like mid-20s. I got to see a chiropractor every week.
Yeah.
So that really
helped.
Yeah. I mean, that really helped. And then I didn't have to go back to chiropractor, and then I've never gone back to sitting down since.
That must be your body type, because I don't think I could stand all day.
No, you just got to get used to it. You just got to get used to it. Like, you can't just jump right into it. If you're like hardcore, like I want to, like, you need to have the patience to try it. It does create, especially my old office, created some awkward situations where people aren't used to standing up. And so if I had guests over for a meeting, so let's stand up around my desk. So it was kind of awkward. So like then I ended up getting like a boardroom table just so that we could sit somewhere instead of having a, because for me it's nothing, I love it. But for other people, you start seeing them after 20 minutes, they're like, oh yeah, okay, like leaning over, no energy.
You do sit for dinner and things like that though, right?
I sit for dinner. Yeah, I mean, I'll still sit down. I go to the movies, I'm sitting down. I'm not, you know, totally anti-sitting, just in general. Like, I'll eat my lunch standing up while I work. Breakfast too. But I'll sit down for dinner. I'll sit down for in the car, you know, like basic stuff. Sunroof, standing up. But yeah, it's had a huge impact on my back. So I'm really grateful for that.
Oh, cool.
What else? Dan B, I really can't wait to read this book. Zano, me neither. Thanks, guys. I don't like reading, but I'm really looking forward to reading this book. Nice. One thing we didn't talk about, I guess not really relevant to the audio version, though, is that it's designed to be easy to read, because I hate long books. Not long like total length, just chapter length. I'm reading one now. It's like 50 pages a chapter, and it kills me because I don't want to stop mid-chapter and read it before I go to bed. It's like 15 more pages, 15 more pages, right? And then I start speed reading, and I lose focus. I have to go back and read what I already read. And so let's see if I can, like, can you guys see that? Every page has like one of these things, so it's a stop, right? So most of the pages, it's like one page. So it's designed to be easy to read, which I made for myself, and I think it's easy for people to digest. So yeah, the audiobook not as relevant, although you can pause it in a lot of places, I guess, and pick up afterwards. But especially for people who are getting the ebook or the hardcover book to be able to read it. Mahavil is saying Morgan Freeman to read my version. Who would you have said? Rishy?
I thought you were going to say, I couldn't believe it, because I thought you were going to say Les Brown.
Les Brown, yeah, that's a good one.
Only because I know, like, you know, lately you've been listening to some of his delivery just to kind of learn. But I love I love the John F. Kennedy and the, don't tell me, who was the other person? John F. Kennedy and
Martin Luther King.
I can't think of two more perfect embodiments of like your personality. Like, so it makes it's like, yeah, okay, that's it. That's the perfect combination of Evan Carmichael. So I don't know, that was really kind of cool to hear, because I haven't heard you. I've heard you talk, I guess, a little bit about Martin Luther King, but I haven't heard you talk about John F. Kennedy before. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I love Les Brown. Les Brown is my speaking. Young Les Brown. Young Les Brown is my speaking role model. I love getting my hands on young Les Brown stuff because of the pure passion that he brings. The reason why I went with the other two, JFK and MLK, was they both have, you know, 3 initials and end in K. And but no, more importantly, they were like, they did something meaningful, right? Like big. Not that Les Brown hasn't. He's reached a ton of people. You know, he's reached probably more people than I have to date. But just, I want the gravitas, you know? I don't know. Those two just come to mind. Morgan Freeman, I love his voice, but yeah, just too chill.
He's chill.
Too chill. Yeah.
You could have gone Eric Thomas too.
Yeah, E.T.'s great.
Yeah.
E.T.'s the new Les Brown. I'm a E.T. fan. Yeah, I need a little more energy than Morgan Freeman, although it is a good. That's so interesting. James Earl Jones was the ¡1 pick. I haven't heard anything James Earl Jones in a long time, but I guess he has a good audiobook career. Interesting. Zeno is saying maybe Les Brown. I like that. Mihaville suggesting Gary Vaynerchuk. I like Gary V too. I feel like Gary wouldn't stick to the script enough. Gary would like read a sentence and then go off on his own for 20 minutes talking about something, which would still be amazing because I'm a huge Gary Vee fan. But he definitely has the energy and the passion. So I like that. He would also swear a lot. He would inject swear words, I feel, into my script.
Well, here's a question now that I'm thinking about the did your accent, your Toronto accent, it's an accent to me at least.
Yeah.
Did it play at all into this experience, the pronunciation of words and?
Not the accent so much as the 2 things I had to work on, and maybe this makes it back into the podcast if they're editing it. The 2 things I had to work on were speaking too quickly. Sometimes when I get excited, I'm just so in the flow and I lose track that I'm speaking really fast, and I need to slow it down for people who are listening, especially if English isn't the first language for people. Mm-hmm. The good news is the words themselves are not super complicated. With intent, it's not 10-syllable words that academics might use to look fancy, right? Like it's not like stupid words, but they're easy to understand words. And my producer said, hey, that was a little fast. Can we slow that down again? I'm like, okay, we'll do it again. And then there were some words that I couldn't get out properly. I forget what the one sentence was. I had to take like 10 takes on this thing because I couldn't say it properly. It was a tongue twister for me. I don't remember what it was, but it happened a couple of times where I mumbled or just said it too quickly. And I had to go back in at the end for an hour to do, what do they call it? Pickups, where somebody then listened to the whole thing and spotted moments where they said, okay, here, it was kind of hard to hear, or he mumbled it, or, I would do this a lot. Like I was
yeah, making noises.
Yeah, they say, we hear your hands. Oh, you hear my hands? Right? So I had to just, okay, chill there, and then be like, I could do it like this. Because I'm expressive. I like to move around. And
yeah.
They won't want me to clap or move, this is noisy. So a lot of those. I think most of the cleanup was on those things.
Well, you also step back and forth a lot. Did they catch your feet noises at all, or was it?
No, because I wasn't in shoes or anything, and it's insulated. But I had to stay in the same spot because of the distance from the microphone. That if I step back or to the side, it would sound like they're so addicted to quality that, like, if I moved a little bit to the side like this, it would sound a little bit off. And it's like, oh, you moved. He wouldn't even look at me like, you moved, get back to the middle. So I put a mark on the floor and then to put my toes there. And so my moving, I had to make sure my feet were always stable. And when I went out for a break or whatever, I came back to the same spot. Yeah, but it was the noise was the hands, or like a stomach gurgle or something, right? They're like, I heard a little noise. Like, oh, really? What kind of noise? Oh, it's like your stomach gurgled or something. Oh, do it again. Great. Here we go. Dan B, I want to get the audiobook too. That would probably sound like listening to his live stream. I think it's like an amped up version of my live stream. I got excited at some points of this live stream, but this is a message that I really believe in. And you give me something that I really believe in and that's like been researched, and it's pretty fire. It's kind of crazy. I want to listen to it. Morgan Freeman has a great voice. I don't think it's right for this book. Too slow. Zeno Muhaville suggesting Morgan Freeman on crack. Although Morgan Freeman did this great video, we have it in his top 10, where he breathed in helium. I feel like it's on the Jimmy Kimmel show, but it may be something else. Maybe Jimmy Kimmel. No, not Jimmy Kimmel. Who's the other guy? Who's the other guy? Late night, Jimmy Kimmel and the other guy.
Conan O'Brien?
No, not him. Younger. Saturday Night Live guy. Or is Conan for Saturday Night?
No.
Brown hair.
Yeah.
Oh, does the lip sync battles.
Yes, put it in the
Come
chat.
on, Fallon. There it is. Zeno saves the day.
Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, Jimmy Fallon did this thing where they both breathed in helium. And so it's great hearing Morgan Freeman with this helium voice. So check that out if you haven't. What else? Talking about Audible, Dan B. You can request your local library to purchase it. Yeah, that's interesting, actually. You can, I don't know how that system works, but somebody emailed me a link to their local library that they requested that they purchase the book. And I said on a live stream, like, if that library purchased the book, I'm going to go down and sign a copy. And then he sent the link to show me that they actually ordered the book.
Oh. And
so I'm going to have to go to Michigan and sign the book. I'll have to clear it with the library first, I guess. But
book
yeah,
tour.
if yeah, I know. At least it's not far. I didn't get myself into going to, somewhere really far and hopping the plane to Hawaii to go sign this book. Alaska, Michigan from Toronto is not that bad. But yeah, so you can ask. I don't know how it works. Maybe it's a library by library basis, but you can ask them to buy the book. So that's pretty cool. Zeno, Rishi is so professional. Look at that. I'm liking it. Evan is like Forrest Gump of standing. Forrest is running all the time. Evan is standing all the time. There you go. He's leaning over. I'm leaning over to read. It's easier. What else we got? A lot of chatter. Evan has an accent, right? It seems like we Europeans don't hear that. Maybe it's because English isn't my first language, but I'm not hearing any accent. He has an accent. I can't hear it. So nobody's hearing the accent.
As long as on the audiobook it was about believe, not about believe.
Yeah, I don't say a boot. It's like the stereotypical Canadian stuff. But yeah, about, I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. I think
it's not. You would fool me, but sometimes I can hear it.
All right. Well,
as long as we know that about is the right way.
I'm proud. I'm proud to show off my Canadian vocals. We'll see how we do. Sherry suggested there must be a bookstore in Toronto that I could have I read Singing Day, but it's Signing Day. I would much rather have a signing day than a singing day at a local bookstore. I will save the singing day to Rishi. She should have a singing day in her local bookstore, and I will do a signing day.
Yeah, there you go.
Bookstore. Yeah, I don't have that much offline stuff planned. There's so much online stuff or media stuff that's coming up in the next 2 weeks. It's crazy. So I might do something at a store. I don't know. I might do something at a local store. We'll see. A couple of people have asked for it.
How about you go to that, like, well, you could do it, Starbucks, or what's your favorite bakery that you're always talking about? Brenner? No.
Oh, yeah, Bunners. Yeah.
Yeah, you should do a reading there.
Maybe. Maybe if we can live stream it or something. I always wanted to have greater reach than just local stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Zaina wants me to have a singing day and sing share. Only if I wear high heels. Okay, you guys are going out the deep end now on the live chat. Deep end on the live chat.
So funny. Believe Nation, you guys.
Cool. Well, Rishi, thanks for the fun. You did a great job. Rishi accepted the role to step in, and when Penguin wrote to me to say, hey, is there somebody who kind of knows you who might be a good fit for the podcast to host it, I thought Rishi would be a great fit. I said we've already worked together on the League of Legends live streams, and I'm excited. I think you did a really good job. People are cheering up your professionalism, so thank you for the work and dedication. Rishi was super prepared for everything. She's messaging me, before and saying, hey, can you send me the link? And hey, all these questions, and how do we set up and all this stuff. Meanwhile, I'm rushing from TDS. I walk in like 3 minutes before we're scheduled to go on air. Haven't read the questions, and okay, Rishi, you ready to go? Let's do it. So you did a great job. Thank you for doing all that, and it's awesome seeing your hosting skills growing and developing and adding value to conversations.
Thanks, Evan. It's always a privilege, and I really am. I'm so excited. This is going to be my next audiobook to listen to. I don't know if I'm going to read the book first or listen to the audiobook first, but I feel like, do you have any recommendations? Like, would you rather have people read first and then audiobook, or audiobook then read?
That's a great question. I think for me, another reason why that I don't listen to audiobooks, I didn't think of it at the time, but I'm much more of a visual learner. Mm-hmm. I would much rather see something than I would love it to be like a YouTube video version.
Awesome. Yeah.
But I'd much rather read than to hear, so I can go at my own pace, and also I can see the words. So I would have picked hardcover book. But the audiobook was so fun and so good that, I don't know, I feel like I would read the book for comprehension and have the audiobook as like a workout soundtrack to make sure that I'm following through. That's probably what I would do. When I'm walking or working out or going to the subway or in meetings, like part of my daily routine to listen to 20, 30 minutes of the audio. But for me to fully understand it, I would get both and use it for different purposes.
That's great. I love that idea.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there's no bundle option, or like I have no control over, like, hey, if you buy this, you get this for 20% off, or maybe we'll do that in the future. I don't know how all that works, but yeah, I would have said hardcover book, but I love the audiobook so much that yeah, I would need both.
Cool.
Yeah, the ebook version too, we didn't talk much about, but I mean, the ebook is obviously the digital version of this, but there's also 30 to 40 minutes of bonus video on it, where at the end of each chapter, I go through my take on it and give extra kind of guidance along the path. So it's another thing that most authors are not willing to do. Say, hey, because there's an ebook version and a deluxe ebook version. I don't know what that means, but basically you have the videos with it, and they're like, do you feel comfortable making some videos to talk about the book that will go alongside the package? You're like, what? Yes. How much time do I have? He's like, oh, like 30 to 40 minutes. What? That's it? 30 minutes? Okay, no problem. I'll do it. And I did it all in one take. I sent it to them and say, hey, how's this? Wow. And give me feedback. Let me edit it. Like, what do you want to do with it? Say, no, this is great. So basically my thoughts, I introduce it and then my thoughts on each one as you go through. So that'd be interesting. If I read books. I prefer to read books, not a digital book though. Mm-hmm. So I would want the hardcover version with the video intros and then the audio version on a loop for my workout and commuting. Yeah. Anyway.
Yay! So exciting.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining and watching. Thank you, Rishi, for doing this interview.
Thanks.
I believe in you. We hope you continue to believe in yourself and cup yourself as well. Rishi, we'll talk about that in a future episode. Much love, guys, and we'll see you soon.